Hello guys and welcome to Ride VIP, the Rideshare channel. My name is Serge, and in today's video I would like to make a little response video to one of the comments I got from one of the recent videos that I have posted. The video that I have posted was about comparing me renting a Range Rover versus driving. Wait a minute, I just butchered that. So the video was about me renting a Tesla, not Tesla. I've been also getting a lot of you guys telling me I'm pronouncing it wrong, but sorry, I have an accent and I don't realize I'm not pronouncing things correctly. But anyways, with that being said, if I still say Tesla instead of Tesla, forgive me. It's just I don't realize it when I'm doing it. So anyways, I was driving my Range Rover for Lyft. First of all, I was not even, if you guys remember the videos that I posted when I bought the Range Rover, I said that I was going to make a test and see if, what's it going to be like driving a Range Rover. I understood even back then that Range Rover is going to be very costly to try to operate. So I was even thinking like, should I or should I not even test this type of theory? And I wasn't even sure if I was going to use the Range Rover, but I said that I will use it for, about a week or a month to try to see like, what's it going to be like. Now, that month turned into about like 3 months of me probably using the Range Rover for 3 months. I think that's how long it has passed. So I put like about 17,000 miles on a Range Rover since I bought it. But anyways, the reason that I have stuck around with the Range Rover for a long time is because my BMW that I was using, which was 24 miles per gallon versus Range Rover being 15.8 miles per gallon. The BMW was in a car accident. Somebody ran into me from the back into my quarter panel because apparently I was driving a construction zone with just a single lane and somebody decided to pass me on the left. It was not my fault, but the insurance company, they totaled it out and I decided not to keep the car. Therefore, I needed something to drive. So I just happened to have that Range Rover and I started like right away just driving a Range Rover instead. So this is what led me into driving this Range Rover because I like to use what I have, and I will be working on getting another car operational so that I could actually use it for this type of ride sharing type of business, but I don't have anything ready as of yet. So with that being said, now that I was kicked off the Lyft platform, I am no longer able to even continue using my Range Rover. So that's out of the question. So the only platform I have left is Uber right now. And since I don't have any car that I can use on Uber platform as of now, I only have two options. Not to drive at all, right? But then it means I will not have any money, and like no money coming in yet. I got a wife and I got 3 kids. There's constantly expenses with that, and that means the quickest way for me to be able to get back on the road and start making money is with a Tesla. And so this is where this video kind of begins, is the comparison if I would have used a Tesla and a Range Rover, even though I cannot really use the Range Rover because it's a 2006, I cannot use it for Uber. Uber will not let you have any car older than 2007, and Range Rover is 2006. This comment that I have really addresses a lot of different things, so I will actually read the comment to you guys as well. But before I actually even read it to you guys, I always have said, don't buy a brand new car to do this type of work because you will put lots of miles on a vehicle, and you're gonna basically not have any warranty, that kind of thing. And I always said that fuel expense is not the only expense you have to deal with a car. There's lots of expenses. We all have different vehicles, so anything from fuel economy to its service and the cost of the vehicle and the upkeep of the vehicle, like all of those things are going to be different for all of us. But this comment is really good because it addresses a lot of the things that we normally think about. And even though a lot of this stuff has been mentioned before, it feels to me like I have to mention this kind of thing in every single video because I get a lot of comments with people telling me that I do not mention expenses besides fuel. And I actually do, but my videos could be long sometimes because there's a lot of things to be said, and maybe somebody misses that portion. So in this video, we will address those type of concerns. But with all that being said, I'm not going to repeat everything that was said in my last video. That was a long video, but what I will say is this. If I rent a Tesla, it will allow me to start working right away. The cost of a Tesla rental, along with the optional insurance and along with all the charging, based on my previous experiences from me renting a Tesla and my use, I'm able to determine what is the actual cost is going to be for me. Taking zero emission deductions, $60 per week as well, taking that into account, I have determined that renting a Tesla versus driving my Range Rover, I'm going to save almost $600 per month by me driving a Tesla that I'm going to be renting. Now, a lot of you guys also have mentioned comments on some of my Tesla videos that if you're renting a Tesla, it's kind of like you're working for Hertz, and we're not making enough money as it is, and we're just basically making Hertz money by us renting a vehicle. Okay, but I would like to address this comment as well. And when you don't have any vehicle, your vehicle has broken down, okay, and you don't have no other option, like you still need to go to work. If you don't have a vehicle, like you cannot even go to your normal job, okay? Especially if you live in a country like me. Nobody's gonna come and pick you up, and going to work get quite expensive if you're gonna take Ubers and Lyfts all the time, because that's just way too long. Because I live 60 miles away from Charlotte, like the actual downtown portion. So with all that being said, I don't want to move to Charlotte just so I could be closer to the city, because my whole goal is to live here in a country where I paid for my property, I paid cash for it. The cost of living is very cheap here. I have a commercial zone property here, I have cars here, so it's just a slow process of, trying to make money from my, basically also side hustles by fixing and selling cars. And even though I am so far ahead than many people, I still feel like I'm in beginning stages, and that's because I'm still missing a few things to really get going, right? And also, it's kind of hard to make money. Like when you start out, like any kind of business, you need lots of money that you got to invest to it. I already invested a lot of my money, and I always need to make more money because I got to invest even more money. But it feels like we're going a little bit off sidetracked. But I just want to get those things out of the way, because some of you don't understand why I even work for Uber or Lyft. Because I get lots of comments saying that for me to get deactivated on Lyft, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's almost kind of like, with that type of question, like it's almost kind of like, okay, just leave rideshare alone, get a normal job. Got those type of comments as well, right? But what you have to understand is, I don't have just this jobs as a job. Like, to me, this is a side hustle, and it's only a side hustle. This is never to really replace the total income. But because all of my things are paid for, I don't need to have like a normal job to try to just, have a job. Like, I don't want to. I've been out of work since 2007. I don't want to go back to working for somebody. Even though, yes, you can get paid more at a job now. You could also get overtime now. There's a lot of that. I just don't want to have a job. I enjoy having a small business. I enjoy being in control of doing all the write-offs. There's a lot of tax advantages when it comes to being self-employed, especially with us driving in these small cars. We could write off all of the vehicle expenses, or if you choose mileage, you could write off all the miles. And at the end of the year, you get like really, really reduced tax bill. Sometimes, depending if you have a family, like I have a family, you'll end up not even paying any taxes, because IRS allows you to write off, I believe, I can't remember right now exactly the number for this year, but I believe it's 64 cents per mile you can write off. It's something around there. It has been going up every single year by at least 2 to 3 cents. So sometimes Uber pays us $1 per mile, sometimes more and sometimes less. So imagine if it pays you less, like let's say like 65 cents to 70 cents a mile, which does happen. And I know a lot of you guys deny those and will not move for no more than $2 a mile. Well, when they pay you so little, imagine you write off all of those miles. You did not make any money, basically, because you basically lost money at that point. And I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, well, yeah, like, why are you going to work and you're going to lose all this money? Well, because all of our cost is so different. See, that is a basic amount that you get to write off per mile. But imagine if you serviced your own car, if you bought your own parts, if you didn't go to a dealer, if you own that car, the depreciation of that vehicle is a lot different than it would be for somebody that has purchased a brand new car. That depreciation is going to be much greater. And there's a lot more that you have to look at with that stuff. For me, I don't like to take risks. And what I mean by that is, like, when I buy a used car and I pay cash for it, I own that car. That car is mine day one. If I could make any money with that car and I get that money back, I'm already glad, right? But I also service that vehicle myself. And a lot of times I already have parts that I could use from other vehicles. It just happened not to be for the Range Rover or some of the other makes that I have. But usually some of the cars that I do have, I have parts for them. And because I have parts for them, I usually could just replace them on the cheap. And also I could just buy parts cheap on eBay or junkyards and replace them. The cost of ownership for me for any of these cars, including luxury cars, it's not that great. Like, it's very minor, okay, because I do all the maintenance myself. So what I mean by taking risks is I don't take risks because this is my car. So renting a car, also, I'm not taking any risks. As a matter of fact, I'm even risking less because now I am not risking the cars. For instance, I don't like, okay, there's a couple things I want to say. Well, first of all, if I'm renting, that means I could choose for how long I want to rent it for. I could choose 1 week. I could choose 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I could, then you have to renew the rental at obviously 28 days. You could choose to rent for 2 months. So the advantage to renting a vehicle is you could do all the work that you got to do, but then you could just give the car back. And that is actually great, because you're always in control. And by renting that car, you don't have to worry about replacing tires. Like, for instance, Teslas are very heavy cars. They go through tires really quickly, easily in 10,000 miles to 20. You could go through a set of tires. That's a cost in itself. Also, there's if you drive a lot, let's say, like, especially like economy class with a Tesla, you're putting all those miles on a Tesla, right? It's not costing me anything in depreciation. I don't have to do no oil changes. Like, there's lots of money that you're saving right there. I'm gonna, get back to some of these, type of costs. But there's a huge advantage to rental because you could always just say, okay, I don't want to rent anymore, and you could go and use some other option. But if I was to go out and buy a Tesla, and I want to say Tesla, but I don't know if I'm saying like Tesla. Like, to me, it sounds all the same in my head. But anyways, if I was to buy one and I had like payments, there's so much that I have to worry about now because the cost of insurance for Tesla is a lot more expensive than for the rental insurance. Well, actually, rental insurance is about the same. I hear like an average cost of Tesla insurance is $300 a month. So if I rent it and I'm paying like $10 a day for 7 days, like that's like, so I'll pay about like $240 in insurance in about 20 days. I believe that's going to be the number, like 280 maybe. I don't know. But let's see, 70, like 140, like, yeah, like 280. So almost $300 I'm going to pay for insurance. So if I own the Tesla, the insurance is going to be about similar. It might even cost a little bit more in some cases. But nobody really talks about maintenance of Teslas, but until you actually end up buying one, and then you start realizing that things do break. Even on Teslas, there's nothing glorious about them. Things will break. You'll need to replace some stuff, but those things are also way more expensive. And any kind of dings and dents, like if you end up renting it, you get any minor ding in a car that could be thousands of dollars, like five, 10, $15,000, like easily, like a baseball sized dent. Yeah, it's going to be crazy expensive. This is why you do need that optional insurance, because fixing it is going to be crazy. And you could just mess everything up for yourself by not actually getting it. But anyways, let me first address this this comment, and then I'm going to respond to it some more. So this comment is placed on a video that it's very long, where I'm comparing the cost of renting a Tesla versus the cost of my Range Rover if I use it with exactly the same type of mileage. Okay, here we go. This is from Henry. So this video is a little too long for me, so forgive me if you mentioned it, but as always, in order to make fair comparison, you have to take to account maintaining the Range Rover, mechanical problems, brakes, oil changes, and car depreciation, and saving for a new car or another car. Without ChatGPT, I can tell you that Tesla is cheaper. Plus, you have a worry-free car. If it breaks, can leave it, call for another one. If there is an accident, not your problem, not your car. Depreciation, so the 100% worry-free driving with zero for oil changes, problems, and all the shit we have to go through is non-existent in renting a Tesla. Plus, you are driving in style, which would definitely help your other business you want to start. Just my 5 cents. Let me know if you do or don't agree. So I agree with you, Henry, 100%. Like everything that you have mentioned, it's nice and short and sweet. Sorry that I cannot do it as good. I would literally need ChatGPT to make it short and sweet, but you've seen what happened last time I tried. Because there's so much to take into account. There's so much to calculate. Yes, definitely true. So even if you got a used car like this Range Rover, yes, I need to worry about maintaining it, and not just oil changes and any kind of fluid changes and brake changes and tire changes. There's also other costs associated with it. Like, for instance, we never think about a major breakdown happening. Just about everything on this Range Rover, once it breaks, it's going to cost over $1,000. I pretty much could guarantee you. Everything's expensive. Anything from fuel injectors to what have you that could go wrong in this car, like transmission work. This is a ZF transmission, which is an Aston Martin transmission. It's a very popular transmission that's used in many Jaguars as well as BMWs and other Land Rovers, and could be used in other cars as well. Now, it's expensive to maintain. Now, because I'm a mechanic, I could buy those parts cheap and I could do the work myself. And on top of that, I will actually make videos to help others do exactly the same thing with this type of vehicle. But let's say you have the Range Rover and you don't know how to repair it. Any little thing is going to cost you lots of money. And when you go to shops, they're going to charge you arm and a leg. And they're not just going to try to replace stuff with eBay parts, because replacing with eBay parts is Chinese parts. They're low quality, great parts. Nobody's going to really risk it and install those parts for you. They will actually get OEM parts. Those parts cost a lot more. Plus, you're going to pay them probably like $100 an hour to actually do all this work. And it does add up very quickly. Like, you could easily have a bill for like anything simple, like over $1,000, like $1,500 to $3,000, like easy. Okay. So with all that being said, you actually mentioned here that you also have to save for another car. Now, when I purchased this Range Rover, I paid $2,500 for it. That's what I paid for it. Like, that was the price out the door, with all the fees and all the things like that. On top of that, I had to get it towed. On top of that, I had to buy some parts for it. Some of those parts that I have bought for this Range Rover, I did not need to install. As a matter of fact, the way the Range Rover was, I could have kept it like it is. But I decided to update the lights in the back. The lights in the back are, like a black style. That cost me a couple $100. Then I updated the grills. That cost me like another like 150. I updated the dashboard. The dashboard was all cracked, and I bought like a very nice dashboard cover. It's not like a carpet. It's actually made out of plastic with a design. There's a cutout for the airbag and whatnot, and I glued it to my dash, and now it looks very clean. It looks way better than it was. Now this is the things that I installed, and that's it. Like, I haven't done nothing else. But on top of that, I bought a radiator. I still have it. I did not install it. I bought a water pump. I bought a GR. I mean, not a GR. I bought a thermostat. I bought, what else did I buy? I bought a roof rack. I bought like steps that you could step on. I also bought this special door sills that when you open it up, it will say sport. And some other things like brakes, like fluids and whatnot, like oil changes and things like that. Like, I also, bought that stuff. And some other stuff that could be like little things, cosmetic, like for the car, like phone holders and whatnot, which is, little things like that. Like, so all in all, this car with the stuff that I have on it cost me, oh yeah, I had to get brand new tires. So the brand new tires plus 2,500. The tires was like $500, so that's like 3,000. Had to pay $100 for them to get mounted and balanced, so that's like 3,100. And on top of that, I have, let's say, like another $500 in just like a basic stuff that I installed, like cosmetics. So the car totally cost me about $3,600. But it really has cost me now $6,000 with everything that I bought for it, but some of those things have not been installed. Like, I really thought I'm going to need a radiator because this one was leaking so bad, but hey, I glued it using like radiator stop leak fix, and I'm using my Range Rover as a guinea pig, and that leak stopped leaking. Like, we're good. Like, I didn't have to replace none of those things, but I do have stuff in case I need to replace it. And the reason I also said that it cost me slightly more is because I replaced the brakes, rotors, bearings, that kind of thing. But anyways, you also mentioned that I have to save for another car. Well, I did. This Range Rover already paid back for itself. So while I was working, I was buying those things for it while I was working. So I was able to put all that stuff back into my pocket already. Like, all that stuff is good. I have other things that I could use. One car that I could use for Uber, it's a 2007 BMW X5. It's got a third row seats in the back. It's really nice on the inside, outside, but it has a lot of things wrong with it, like issues with the transmission, four-wheel drive system, etc. So I got to look into that stuff. Right now, I just don't have the time for it because I have other things going on. Like, right now, I have a building project that's going on. Also, I would like to address in this video other expenses, but first I would like to mention something that just popped into my head. I got lots of comments saying, well, you're not making enough with Lyft, so don't work for Uber because you got into credit card debt. So when I mention credit card debt, like, we all have some kind of debt, right? But I did not get into credit card debt because I wasn't making enough money from Lyft. Although it seems like that's really not the case. Well, first of all, if I'm not making enough money from them, I have also other means of income, right? So that helps supplement things. But also, I would like to let you know that all people that are wealthy, take a look at and do some research. None of them pay cash for anything. They pay with credit. Because trying to pay with your debit card for stuff, your debit card PIN and your debit card could be stolen just by swiping it somewhere. Like, it could be stolen. So you don't have any fraud protection when it comes to your personal money. Cash, you could lose it. So who cares cash anymore? So the only viable solution is using credit cards. So if you use a credit card for fuel, if you have like good cards like I have. Like I have cards that give me like air miles, like my Capital One Venture card. I also have some that give me cash back and things of that nature. So when I spend money on a credit card, I pay it back that same month. I do not pay interest on that stuff, and I am actually accumulating miles. That's what I'm actually doing right now with my Capital One Venture for traveling. And that's basically kind of like free for me because I know that if I have fueled my car up, right, and made money, I'm not spending more on fuel than I am working. Like I'll still make way more money. So that means all the money I spend on it, I'm just getting air miles and I pay it off like right away. I do not like to hold balances. Um, and that also helps build credit as well. Even though I don't need credit, I have good credit. Having good credit could get you in trouble, but you also need good credit because if you don't, your insurance is going to be more expensive. Any kind of other things, it's just going to be like way more. You now get judged by like anywhere, like just by your credit history. That shows what kind of person you are. So when they look at mine, it's pretty good because I try to always pay everybody on time. So they try to give me more offers, like obviously they send me more and that kind of thing. But anyways, according to my credit card balance now, that was tools I purchased. I purchased $1,800 worth of tools, and I purchased roughly a similar amount in supplies because right now I'm working on projects where like I'm building walls, shelves, floor in a building that's about 12 by 25 and maybe about 12 to 13 feet tall on the inside. So I'm using that area to basically build the shelves up and everything so I could put parts and everything else I sell on eBay for it. Also, I want to put like a working station there where I could like print shipping labels and a packaging station, stuff like that, and also I have another building besides that, which is exactly the same size, and I got to do the same thing to that one. So I bought a lot of supplies that I could actually do that. It's kind of like a small shop or almost like two huge, I guess like storage units or whatever. Um, and I'm doing that for me because yes, it's costing me money up front, but I don't have to rent anybody nothing. And even if nothing will sell, I will basically be able to just hold it on the shelf and it doesn't cost me any more money. So right now I'm trying to work on my eBay business. So that is one. And also I'm building at the same time, but I also got to fix cars at the same time. But it's just me. I'm just one person. I cannot do everything at once. That's just impossible. But I could slowly, get the ball rolling and fix you know, finish building this building, obviously, right? Slowly start listing stuff on eBay and put it on eBay. But once everything's in the store, then I sort of will get some of that time back. I will then be able to start working on cars a little bit more and fixing some stuff for me. So sometimes I need to choose like where my time goes. I'm thinking, okay, I'm either building today or I'm fixing a car today. But it's almost kind of like I have to make a shift in my brain from building to fixing. And it takes different type of tools. And I have to always set up when I'm fixing stuff. And then I have to put things up immediately if I'm not done fixing something. So that means also I need to build myself a shop, and I need money for that as well. I do have money for that right now, but it's invested, and I don't like to use my invested funds for personal bills. That is just my money for my shop. I do have it. I did save it up, like I said I will. So I do actually have that. On top of that, I allowed my family to be able to splurge with things like vacations and buying my kids stuff that they want, like in need and for the school and like all this different stuff. Like we're not like just being broke over here. But then again, because I work really hard and my place is paid for, there's no car payments. So I cut out as much risk as possible out of my life. And somebody in my position would probably be talking to you guys like from a higher place, right? Like they really made it, like, and make it look like they're above you. I will not do that. Even though in my time, I started with nothing and I was able to get to where I am right now. So when I didn't have any money in 2012, guys, I started saving, and by 2015, I was able to buy this place, which is completely run down. And it's an acre and a half. It's two properties next door to each other. So I bought all that. When I bought it in 2015, I was completely out of money. I don't like to say broke. I said broke before, but when you don't have any money, like that's it. Like you're broke basically at that point. And things were shifting for me once I bought it, and my business was shifting because I wanted to be more with family. So I also need to fix up the place, and lots of money went towards fixing up the place. When I was done, which took me about 4 years, so I started after that. Well, actually, right when COVID hit, I started buying up cars. Now I have 34 cars. I would have had 35 right now if the BMW wasn't smashed and I decided not to keep it. But I decided not to keep it. I could always buy more, but I have enough now to where I could, I have some projects cars, I have parts cars that I could part out, and I also have cars that I could fix. It's just everything takes time, obviously. And I have a bunch of cars that need mechanical work and some cars that I'm preparing for myself. So first, I try to take care of myself and my needs. So at this time, we have 3 cars in my family that we could use, but none of these cars are useful for Uber because I choose to drive cars that are older, that are paid for, and I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So this is why I will continue working with Uber until they get rid of me. I'm sure that's gonna happen. There's a very good possibility that they're gonna get rid of me. With that being said, guys, I've received all kinds of comments like all over the place, and I don't blame any of you guys or feel sad or whatever when I get nasty comments. But a lot of you guys gave me lots of support, and you guys, you feel it for me by me like losing my Lyft type of account because they completely blocked me. Some of you guys were glad because you thought I was unsafe driver, and basically comments look like I deserved it. Some of you guys said like I almost was crying about it, which I never did. I don't know why would you say that, but I will tell you this, guys. When you lose a job or somebody deactivates you or you lose a girlfriend or a wife, you know, even if it's good for you, it doesn't feel good in the beginning, okay? You might feel sad, you might feel stressed out because you're going through a change. Nobody likes the change, including your body. Your body does not like the change. If you're trying to lose weight, it hates it because your body trying to protect itself by trying to hold on all the weight, right? So we sometimes try to hold on to that job that's not good for us because we're comfortable in it and we don't like that change, right? But change is good for us, even though it might makes us feel sad that we got kicked out. That change is telling us something, that it's time to move on. It's time to improve something, okay? With all that being said, guys, I am working on something where I could actually improve my situation by me working on a small business, okay? So that means I'm already doing something that will replace my Uber job or like any kind of driving job, because my whole goal is not to depend on anybody for anything. Like I don't need to like have any kind of job. Like I just want to be able to have side gigs, but my side gigs will turn into like me selling some cars here and there, me doing mechanical work here and there, selling stuff on eBay, and I will still like to drive because if I'm gonna be a reseller as well, that's gonna get me all around the cities. Basically, like I'm gonna get paid to go to, let's say, like thrift shops, Goodwills, and whatever, and I'm gonna be in that area, and I'm gonna be picking some stuff up and putting them in my trunk or whatever. So that means I will be able to then stop by those places, and once I pick everything up, right, I could just go home or whatever, and I made money that day. So that's not gonna feel like time wasted because that stuff takes time to drive around and do that kind of stuff. But I also, want to mention this, guys. Those of you that think it's somehow my fault and I'm a safe driver, it's very, very few of you, right, that think that, okay? You have a full, I guess, right to think that. You're entitled to your opinion, okay? But that is, keep in mind that it's so easy to blame somebody. It's so easy to say, well, you were probably doing something wrong, right? And it's so easy to point fingers until it happens to you. And once it does happen to you, it could be for something totally different, right? And then imagine you will try to, maybe share this with somebody, right? And you try to, whatever, maybe hopefully get some positive feedback, right? But instead, somebody's going to put you down for something else. So it's just like whatever goes around, so like comes around. So just because you haven't been kicked off the platform yet, it doesn't mean you never will. You know, I've done like please understand, I've done everything when it comes for like my passengers. Like I help them to their houses, I help them with luggage without even getting any tips, like from train stations, from whatever. I help load. I always take luggage to their places. People buy groceries. I help them bring groceries in, especially with women passengers. I would always help them out. So I'm sure a lot of you guys do that. Some of you probably say that's not in my job description. But imagine if sometimes I did not help them with their luggage. I did not help them with their food or whatever, right? Think about those passengers. They might be taking care of that stuff themselves, but in the back of their mind, they're like, I'm paying all this money and he didn't even help me. Let's see. And I didn't even like him. I didn't even like her. They're going to start thinking that stuff. And he was rude. Like, and by me, not, oh no, like, people going to like make all this stuff up, right? And then they're going to like, as they keep saying it, it accelerates in their mind and they think it worse and worse. And they're like, no, no, no. I'm just going to give him bad rating. I'm going to write him a nasty comment. And here you were, never talking on a cell phone, never having your AirPod in your ear, never listening to nothing because you're trying to be so safe. But you did not help that one person, right? And they're going to write something nasty. And now you're going to have to prove yourself. And you might not be able to prove yourself. And then guess what? You're going to be, again, kicked off the platform. A lot of you guys wrote to me once you got kicked off that same week. You don't even know why you've been kicked off. I don't know. Like, I give you support. Like, I understand. There's been a lot of people getting kicked off recently, banned from Lyft. From Lyft. That's the one that's been doing it, like, recently. Lyft has been, for some reason, kicking people off the platform. But also, I will tell you this. Lyft has been struggling the most financially. Their stock has been beaten down so much. They recently replaced their CEO to try to make some more money. And guess what? They're just, right now, they're probably cutting back. They're probably trying to have less drivers. Because also that means like, there's all these bonuses that they got to pay out, which still cost them money. So there's also, I guess like, they also have lots of lawsuits. That means, yeah, if they do have drivers that are unsafe, even though somebody lied about it, they think that could be a potential lawsuit if somebody's going to get into an accident. So they're going to try to get rid of those drivers. They're trying to get rid of anybody. They're trying to shrink down. While Uber has been growing. As a matter of fact, this last couple